Shri Gauratai ki jai, Shri Giraj Maharaj ki jai, Shri Kamadeva ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. All glorious to your Sama devotees. All glorious to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glorious to Sri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Vastavate, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Dve, Gauravani Vichari Naine Vastesha Sanyavadi, Vastachade Shatarne. We'll have a short reading of the activities of Sakshi Gopal. And where we left off yesterday, I don't know. Hey. There's a helicopter? A helicopter in the kitchen. Sounds like a helicopter.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't read the purport. There's a purport to the verse we ended up with. Purport. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vindam. The young Brahmana is speaking to the old Brahmana that, my dear sir, what you're proposing, this is not possible. You're proposing to give your daughter to me in marriage. I'm an illiterate almost, poor son of a Brahmin, and you're from a very aristocratic, learned family. Your daughter is very considered to be high class and I'm low, and this is not appropriate. Please reconsider what you are saying. Anyway, Prabhupada writes in this purport, in this regard, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that the younger Brahmana rendered service to the older one with the purpose of pleasing Krishna. It was not a matter of ordinary worldly dealings. Krishna is pleased when a Vaishnava is rendered service. Because the younger Brahmin served the older one, Lord Gopal agreed to become a witness of the marriage negotiation in order to maintain the prestige of both devotees. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would certainly not have liked to hear about material dealings unless such dealings were exchanged between two Vaishnavas. Marriage arrangements and ceremonies belonging to ordinary material karma kanda sections of the scriptures belong to. The Vaishnavas, however, are not interested in any kind of karma kanda dealings. Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, Karma, Kanda, Jnana, Kanda, Kevala, Visharabandha. For a Vaishnava, where are we? For a Vaishnava, the Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda sections of the Vedas are unnecessary. Indeed, a real Vaishnava takes these sections as a poison pot. Visharabandha. Sometimes we take part in a marriage ceremony for our disciples, but this does not mean that we are interested in karma kanda activity. sometimes not knowing the Vaishnava philosophy, an outsider criticizes such activity, maintaining that a sannyasi should not take part in a marriage ceremony between a young boy and a girl. However, this is not a karmakanda activity because our purpose is to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. We are giving all facilities to the general populace to take to Krishna consciousness. And in order to fix the devotees in concentration on the service of the Lord, marriage is sometimes allowed. We've experienced that such married couples actually render very important service to the mission. Therefore, one should not misunderstand when a sannyasi takes part in a marriage ceremony. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu took great pleasure in hearing about the marriage ceremony between a young Brahmin and the daughter of the elderly Brahmin. Next verse. Lessons to learn there. The older Brahmin replied, so he's replying to the younger Brahmin, "My dear boy, do not doubt me. I will give you my daughter in charity. I have already decided this." The young Brahmin said, "You have a wife and sons, and you have a large circle of relatives and friends. Without the consent of all your friends and relatives, it is not possible to give me your daughter in charity. Just consider the story of Queen Rukmini and her father Bhishmaka. King Bhishmaka wanted to give his daughter Rukmini in charity to Krishna, but Rukmini, the eldest son, objected. Therefore he could not carry out his decision." Purport. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Rajasit Bhishmako Nama Vidara Bhadi Patir Maham Tasya Pancha Bhavan Putra Kanyaika Chavarayan Varanana. King Bhishmaka of Vidarbha wanted to offer Krishna his daughter, Rukmini, but Rukmini, the eldest of his 5 sons, objected. Therefore he withdrew his decision and decided to offer Rukmini to the king of Chedi, Shishupal, who was a cousin of Krishna's. However, Rukmini conceived of a trick. She sent a letter to Krishna asking him to kidnap her. Thus, in order to please Rukmini, who was his great devotee, Krishna kidnapped her. There ensued a great fight between Krishna and the opposing party, headed by Rukmini's brother Rukmini. Rukmini was defeated, and because of his harsh words against Krishna, was about to be killed, but he was saved at the request of Rukmini. However, Krishna shaved off all of Rukmini's hair with his sword. Sri Balaram did not like this, and so to please Rukmini, Balaram rebuked Krishna. Next verse. So he's giving this as an argument. The elderly Brahmin said, "My daughter is my own property. If I choose to give my property to someone who has the power to stop me, my dear boy, I will give my daughter to you in charity, and I will neglect the position of all others. Don't doubt me in this regard. Just accept my proposal." The younger Brahmana replied, "If you have decided to give your young daughter to me, then say so, please, before the Gopal deity." Coming before Gopala, the elderly Brahmin said, "My dear Lord, please witness that I have given my daughter to this boy." Purport. In India, it is still the custom for a daughter to be offered to someone simply by word. This is called Vagdatta. This means that the father, brother or guardian of a girl has given his word that she will be married to a certain man. That happened to one of our brahmacharis in Malaysia. When he was about 7 years old, the family of one of the I don't know who they were, but whoever they were, promised to give their daughter, who was about 4 at that time, to him in marriage when they reached elder age. So 16, 14, 15, 16 years later, he was a brahmachari, a top book distributor, and suddenly this thing came up, and so he got married, because both families had promised when he was a young boy, so he had to get married. That girl never thought of anyone else up to that. Consequently, the daughter cannot be married to anyone else. She is reserved by virtue of the honest words of the father or guardian. There are many instances in which the parents of a female child have given someone a verbal promise that the daughter will be married to his son. Both parties agree to wait until the boy and girl are grown up, and then the marriage takes place. That's exactly what happened. Following this custom, which is very old in India, the elderly Brahmin promised to give his daughter to the younger Brahmin in charity, and he promised this before the Gopal deity. In India, the custom is to honour any promise made before the deity. Such a promise cannot be cancelled. In Indian villages, whenever there is a quarrel between 2 parties, they go to a temple to settle the quarrel. Whatever is spoken in front of the deity is taken to be true, for no one would dare lie before the deity. This same principle was followed in the Battle of Kurukshetra. Therefore, in the very beginning of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. By not becoming God-conscious, human society is deteriorating to the lowest standard of animal life. This Krishna-conscious movement is very essential to reviving God-consciousness among the general populace. If people actually become God-conscious, all quarrels can be settled outside of court, as happened in the case of the 2 Brahmins, whose disagreement was settled by the witness Gopal. There you go. So if you're having a quarrel, you have to come in front of the deities, okay? And Kurma will, Gaunitai Kurma will be the witness. Then the younger Brahmin addressed the deity saying, My dear Lord, you are my witness. I shall call for you to testify if it is necessary later on. After these talks, the 2 Brahmins started for home. As usual, the young Brahmin accompanied the elder Brahmin as if the older Brahmin were a guru, spiritual master, and rendered him service in various ways. After returning to Vidyanagar, each Brahmin went to his respective home. After some time, the elderly Brahmin became very anxious. He began to think, I have given my word to a Brahmin in a holy place, and what I promised will certainly come to pass. I must now disclose this to my wife, sons, and other relatives and friends. Thus one day, the elderly Brahmin called for a meeting of all of his relatives and friends, and before them all he narrated what had taken place in front of Gopal. When those who belonged to the family circle heard the narration of the old Brahmana, they made exclamations showing their disappointment. They all requested that he not make such a proposal again. They unanimously agreed, if you offer your daughter to a degraded family, your aristocracy will be lost. When people hear this, they will make jokes and laugh at you. The elderly Brahmin said, How can I undo the promise I have made in a holy place while on pilgrimage? Whatever may happen, I must give him my daughter in charity. The relatives unanimously said, If you give your daughter to that boy, we shall give up all connection with you. Indeed, his wife and sons declared, If such a thing happens, we shall take poison and die. In typical India, these things are common now. Even if the boy joins the Hare Krishna movement, the mother threatens her to take poison and die if you stay there. Quite often that happens. So as the boy goes home or somewhere or another, Hopes that doesn't happen. The elderly Brahmin said, "If I do not give my daughter to the young Brahmin, he will call Sri Gopalji as a witness. Thus he will take my daughter by force, and in that case my religious principles will become meaningless." The son replied, "The deity may be a witness, but he's in a far distant country. How can he come bear witness against you? Why are you so anxious about this? You do not have to fully deny or flatly deny that you spoke such a thing. There is no need to make a false statement. Simply say you do not remember what you said. If you simply say, 'I do not remember,' I shall take care of the rest. By argument, I shall defeat the young Brahmin." Purport. The son of the elderly Brahmin was an atheist and a follower of the Raghunath Smriti. He was very expert in dealing with pounds, shillings and pence. I don't know what the Raghunath Smriti exactly is. Some kind of behavior. But he was fool number one. Consequently, he did not believe in the spiritual position of the deity, nor did he have any faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, as a typical idol worshipper, he considered the form of the Lord to be made of stone or wood. Thus he assured his father that the witness was only a stone deity and was not capable of speaking. Besides that, he assured his father that the deity was situated far away and consequently could not come to bear witness. In essence, he was saying, "Have no anxiety. You do not have to go lie directly. You should speak like a diplomat, like King Yudhisthira when he spoke to Dronacharya. Ashvatthama hata iti gajaha." Following this principle, simply say that you do not remember anything and are completely unaware of the statements given by the young Brahmin. If you make the background like this, I shall know how to fill in the argument and defeat him by word jugglery. Thus I shall save you from having to give your daughter to him. In this way our aristocracy will be saved. You have nothing to worry about. Very confident, huh? Next verse. Hearing this, the mind of the elderly Brahmin became very agitated. Feeling helpless, he simply turned his attention to the lotus feet of Gopal. The elderly Brahmana prayed, "My dear Lord Gopal, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet, and therefore I request you to please protect my religious principles from disturbance, and at the same time save my kinsmen from dying." Next verse. The next day the elderly Brahmin was thinking deeply about this matter when the young Brahmin came to his house. The young Brahmin came to him and offered respectful obeisances. Then very humbly, holding his hands, he spoke as follows. He said, "You have promised to give your daughter in charity to me. Now you do not say anything. What is your conclusion?" After the young Brahmin submitted his statement, the elderly Brahmana remained silent. Taking this opportunity, his son immediately came out with a stick to strike the younger Brahmin. Huh?
That was his way of argumenting with the stick.
Pardon?
The son said that he would argue with the young Brahmana in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't mention what we have to do with the stick.
Yeah, well, he's bringing a stick as well, just in case. The son then said, "Oh, you who are most degraded, you want to marry my sister? Just like a dwarf who wants to catch the moon?" Seeing a stick in the hand of the son, the younger Brahmin fled. He chased him away, basically. The next day, however, he gathered together all the people of the village. All the people of the village then called for the elderly Brahmin and brought him to their meeting place. The young Brahmin then began to speak before them all as follows. "This gentleman has promised to hand over his daughter to excuse me, this is the young Brahmin. The young Brahmin then began to speak before them all as follows. This gentleman has promised to hand over his younger daughter to me. You know, yet now he does not follow his promise. Please ask him about his behavior. All the people gathered there asked the elderly Brahmin, if you have already promised to give him your daughter in charity, why are you not fulfilling your promise? You have given your word of honor. The elderly Brahmin said, my dear friends, please hear what I have to submit. I do not exactly remember making a promise like that. When the elderly Brahmin's son heard this, he took the opportunity to juggle some words. Becoming very impudent, he stood before the assembly and spoke as follows. The elderly Brahmin, now the son of the elderly Brahmin is speaking. While touring various holy places of pilgrimage, my father carried much money. Seeing the money, this rogue decided to take it away. There was no one besides this man with my father, giving him an intoxicant known as dutara to eat. This rogue made my father mad. Having taken all my father's money, this rogue claimed that it was taken by some thief. Now he is claiming that my father has promised to give him his daughter in charity. All of you assembled here are gentlemen. Please judge whether it is benefiting to offer this poor Brahmin my father's daughter. Hearing all these statements, all the people gathered there became a little doubtful. They thought that it was quite possible that because of attraction for riches, one may give up his religious principles. At that time the young Brahmin said, my dear gentlemen, please hear. Just to gain victory in argument, this man is lying. Being very satisfied with my service, this Brahmin has said to me, of his own accord, I promise to hand over my daughter to you. At that time, I forbade him to do this, telling him, O best of the Brahmins, I'm not a fit husband for your daughter. Whereas you are a learned scholar, a rich man, belonging to an aristocratic family, I am a poor man, uneducated, and with no claim to aristocracy. Still this Brahmin insisted. Again and again he asked me to accept his proposal, saying, I have given my daughter, please accept her. I then said, please hear, you are a learned Brahmin. Your wife, friends and relatives will never agree to this proposal. My dear sir, you will not be able to fulfill your promise. Your promise will be broken. Yet again and again, the Brahmin emphasized his promise. I have offered you my daughter. Do not hesitate. She is my daughter, and I shall give her to you. Who can forbid me? At that time, I concentrated my mind and requested the Brahmin to make the promise before Gopal deity. Then this gentleman said in front of the Gopal deity, my dear Lord, please bear witness. I have offered my daughter to this Brahmin in charity. Accepting the Gopal deity as my witness, I then submitted the following at his lotus feet. If this Brahmin later hesitates to give me his daughter, my dear Lord, I shall call on you as a witness. Please note this with care and attention. Thus, I have called upon a great personality in this transaction. I have asked the Supreme Godhead to be my witness. The entire world accepts the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I will finish there. We have a lot to do. We'll finish off tomorrow morning. That's just a turning point here. Exciting. Oh, exciting, huh? what will happen next? Da-da-da-dun.
Come tomorrow.
Tune in tomorrow.
Right. Cooking.
Cooking.